Welcome to the Temple of the Most High. Today we journey into the mystical story of Aladdin as a sacred allegory for awakening your own working faith, the faith that calls forth the divine power within, your very own genie of miracles. Get ready to unlock spiritual secrets rooted in the Most High's teachings and awaken your inner temple. Today's episode is going to be entitled The Working Faith of Aladdin, and that will be presented by Kasubel. And the Bible verse of the day is Hebrews 13:7 from the New International Version says, "Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith." The original tale of Aladdin and the wonderful lamp preserved in the Arabian Nights, 1001 Nights, is far older, deeper, and more mystical than the 1992 Disney adaptation. Set not in Agrabah, but in a city in China with an Arab Muslim population. The story centers around Aladdin, a poor, undisciplined street boy raised by his widowed mother. He has no father, no trade, and no desire to work, making him spiritually asleep in his own potential. The turning point begins when a deceitful magician from Maghreb, North Africa, often called simply the sorcerer, claims to be Aladdin's uncle. He knows through ancient knowledge that only Aladdin can retrieve a magical lamp hidden in the underground chamber. The magician leads Aladdin to a hidden cave with a stone entrance and sends him down through 3 levels filled with trees that bear jeweled fruit, rubies, emeralds, diamonds, opal, and pearls. Aladdin, not understanding the treasure around him, collects the lamp but refuses to hand it over until he escapes first. Enraged, the magician seals him inside, planning to leave him for dead. The spiritual high point occurs here. Trapped alone in the darkness, Aladdin breaks down and utters a prayer echoing ancient Arabian monotheism. There is no strength or power but in the great and high God. The single prayer activates the first genie, not from the lamp, but from a magic ring given to him earlier. The ring genie rescues him and returns him home. Still poor, Aladdin now possesses a divine helper. Eventually, Aladdin discovers the lamp's second, far more powerful genie, whose ability far surpasses the ring genie. With this help, Aladdin transforms his fate. He becomes wealthy, gains influence, and builds a majestic palace. His greatest triumph comes when he wins the love of Princess Baduralmador, whose name means full moon at her brightest. The original tale differs dramatically from the Disney's 1992 version. The genie is not friendly or comedic. He is a servant bound to obey. There is no 3-wish limit. Aladdin is not charming at first. He matures through conflict. Jasmine is not the protagonist. Belrobaldur has her own cultural lineage. The villain is not Jafar, but a nameless North African sorcerer, an archetype rather than a character. The Arabian Night Aladdin is ultimately a spiritual initiation story, one where prayer, destiny, and divine assistance reveal the genius hidden inside an unlikely boy. And now Kasubel will present his...
Again, the title for today's message is The Working Faith of Aladdin, Awakening the Genie Within. Now family, lean in, because today we enter the place where every hero, biblical, historical, and legendary, begins. Limited awareness on the way to increased awareness. And we start with the word. And it says in Hebrews 13 verse 7, "Remember your leaders, consider the outcome of their way of life, and imitate their faith." Scripture calls them leaders, but literature calls them protagonists. Moses facing a sea with no bridge, surrounded by lions, David staring down a giant twice his size. With all these heroes, what all these heroes shares is not strength, not status, not special connections. No, they shifted their awareness and called upon the Most High. And that's where their victory began. And the same is true in the story I'm taking you into today. Not the Disney version, as Sheba just extolled, but the original Arabian Nights tale and the wonderful lamp. A story that has survived over 1,000 years because it contains timeless transformational technology, exactly like the character arc you're seeing on screen right now. Today, we start at the top of that circle, i.e. limited awareness. In the original tale, Aladdin is not charming, not clever, not noble, not brave. He is a poor street urchin, a boy with no father, no mentorship, no direction, a young man with talent but no discipline, potential but no focus, Let's tell the truth. Aladdin is exactly what the Bible warns us not to be. In Hosea 4:6, it reads, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge." Or, in the story of Aladdin, a person who becomes an enemy to their own genius. Because if you don't value your gifts, if you don't awaken to your brilliance, you will attract opponents who recognize your value more than you do. But before we get to that, we must address the foundation, self-worth, as scripture. "I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made," says in Psalms 139, verse 14. That word, wonderfully, is pala, and the Hebrew meaning for pala means uniquely fashioned, extraordinary, and set apart. To my sisters listening, and of course the brothers who are supporting, if you knew the divine engineering happening inside of you this very second, your endocrine system, hormone-producing network regulating mood, growth, energy, balance, your heart rhythm, your breath, which moves in and out, fueling cells, calming nerves, and awakening conscious awareness, within seconds, without your constant instruction, you would never doubt your worth again. The sleeper must awake. Even Aladdin's mother, poor, working, hard, holding life together with nothing but thread and hope, represents something deeper. The matter, the mother of matter. Just as Eve is called the mother of all living in Genesis 3 verse 20. She symbolizes the origin of all manifestation, the womb of potential. Aladdin's mother supports him even when she didn't believe in her only begotten son. Sound familiar? Now comes a shift in the arc, from limited awareness toward increased awareness. And like every hero story, the shift begins with a challenge or a conflict that cannot be told in words. Enter the sorcerer, who does not need a name to play his part. Your antagonist, not the glittery villain from cartoons, but the esoteric archetype of the false initiator, the one who recognizes your value before you do. The false uncle, he comes to Aladdin because he knew the genius Aladdin himself ignored. The magician mapped the treasures with exact detail, the jeweled trees, the glowing rooms, the lamp at the heart of it all. And as Aladdin moved through the cave of wonders, he saw the magician's words come alive before his eyes. This is a moment where you must let it weigh on you like a weighted blanket. Now hear me now. When you think low of yourself, when you undervalue your brilliance, your genius potential, you become vulnerable to people who come wrapped in mentorship but move in manipulation. You see, the fake friends, the fake family, those sorcerers are not your enemies. There's a resonance or a permanence with an enemy. No, the sorcerer is your opponent, for all opponents' attempts to stop the progress of someone or something. They see your light even while you deny it. And the sorcerer in Aladdin's story does exactly what false guides always do. He offers Aladdin a shortcut, a promise, a quick path to power. But the moment you recognize your own worth, the opponent withdraws, because your clarity exposes every illusion. And the closer he gets to what he wants, the faster he abandons what he can no longer control. Aladdin did discover the lamp, yet refused to surrender it. And in an instant, like abracadabra, the magician abandoned him, trapping him alone in the cave of wonder where the first real transformation begins. Because hear me, I'll say it again, your opponent is not an enemy. Sometimes they are playing their part as an awakener. They force you into the place where your true awareness must rise. Now, in this first part, it taught us that if you don't know your worth, your opponent does. Now, as we continue, I hope to impart on you what happens when life pushes you into the cave of your own becoming. The anatomy you don't know is a genius someone else will use. Let me ask you something, or a question. Do you know where your heart sits, your lungs, your vagus nerve, your medulla oblongata? Do you know how your RNA recalls memory? Do you know how your body's electromagnetic field collapses and reforms every millisecond? If you don't, somebody who has studied Stedman's Medical Dictionary does, and most likely your opponent does too. In the book Holographic Universe, Michael Talbot tells us that what we call flesh is really a living hologram, coded with genius, power, and divine intelligence. So hear me clearly. If you don't know what you carry, someone else will exploit what you ignore. This is exactly why the magician in Aladdin's story knew every detail of the cave. Not because he loved Aladdin, but because he understood Aladdin's value before Aladdin did. The opponent has a map of you better than you do. And especially this case was true with referring to talent. Hidden beneath a stone, just like your potential is hidden, beneath layers you haven't lifted yet. 3 levels. Descent into the subconscious, the emotional body, the ancestral memory. Well, the garden, one had rubies, diamonds, emeralds, representing your intuition, compassion, and discipline. The second garden, the topaz, the opal, the amethyst, your creativity, your prophetic imagination, your divine wisdom. And the final room, the golden lamp, your genius, your consciousness, your ultimate capacity. The magician knew all this, and he knew the exact mechanism, the magic words, the layout, the jewels, and he knew that only Aladdin could retrieve the lamp. Now, let me say this with love. Your opponent knows you're first. Family, let me say this with love. Your opponent knows you have a golden lamp inside your mental cave of wonders, but they plan to take the lamp and leave you in the dark. That's why you must know yourself. When Aladdin enters the cave, he has no idea he's walking into his own internal world. He sees the trees with branches of gold, fruits made of jewels, gardens shimmering with colors beyond imagination. But here's the revelation. Those jewels represent the faculties inside of you. Your dormant gifts, your silent talents, your unclaimed inheritance, your unexpressed majesty. You think you're empty inside? Beloved, you are walking around with gardens of jewels waiting to be harvested. For conflict is not punishment. Conflict is revelation. Opposition doesn't steal your value. Opposition actually exposes it. When the opponent moves against you, he names himself. Let's walk through the scriptural level symbolism of the magician's names given to him by the mother and, of course, Aladdin. False relative, evil sorcerer, a villain, a deceiver, a wicked imposter, a traitor. Now, to some, I would say these are insults. In another sense, they are not. These are more frequencies of adversarial energy that appear whenever destiny is close. Remember, people try to steal what they know you don't know you have. The magician sealed Aladdin in the cave because he wanted the treasure without the transformation, but the transformation belonged to Aladdin. Now, Aladdin, trapped for 3 days in the dark, with fear of closing in, with no food, no water, no escape, Aladdin does what every biblical hero does. He prays. And his prayer is this: there is no strength or power but in the great and high God. And at that moment, the moment of sincere, stripped down, no ego surrender, the Most High, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and any concept of supernatural orifices, provides Aladdin with the first genie, not from the lamp, but from the ring. The ring represents the activated mental faculty sharpened by conflict given to him by his opponent. And the genie says, and I quote, "What wouldest thou? I am ready to obey thee as thy slave, and the slave of all who have the ring on thy finger, and the other slaves of that ring." And aha! It is at this moment your first act of genius appears, not when you are strong, but when you're honest. Not when you know everything, but when you admit you don't. And so Aladdin asks for one thing: deliverance. And deliverance came. When the genie lifted Aladdin out of the cave of wonders and set him back on earth, let's be honest, nothing in the natural world had changed for Aladdin. He was still a poor street urchin. He still lived with his widowed mother. He still had no job, no money, no status, no social value, and no earthly reason to think tomorrow would be better than yesterday. But now, and this is the revelation, he was a street urchin with a genie. A street urchin with divine assistance. A street urchin who had invoked the Most High and received an answer. A street urchin who had awakened the genius within. Now, in the story, you have to catch this. Your conditions may not change immediately, but you have changed. When Aladdin went home and told his mother what had happened, she looked at his clothes, still dusty. She looked at his face, still hungry. She looked at his hands, still empty. His social and economic condition was still poverty, but he carried something new, a supernatural resource that poverty could not touch. The genie didn't erase his past. The genie didn't give him instant riches. The genie didn't give him a palace, not yet. What the genie gave him was agency, possibility, and power, all provided under the authority of the Most High, who hears the desperate cry. And again, his prayer was, there is no strength and no power except in the great and high God. He walked into that cave as an urchin, and he came out of the cave with access. And, of course, something miraculous happens. Still poor, Aladdin wished for sustenance, and the genie brings him a feast. 12 silver plates of royal-level dishes. 12, the number of the government, structure, divine order. This was the first public demonstration of his inner genius. And soon, Aladdin is selling the silver plates. The food came one, feeding his family, sustaining his household, building his confidence, because once the genius inside awakens, lack cannot stay. Well, this is the final ascent on the character arc, the place of rededication, the final attempt and mastery, or should I say, the final attempt and mastery. I hope what we have discussed has awakened you and activated you. After escaping the cave, after feeding his mother, after tasting what genius can do, Aladdin does something most people never do. He sits down and contemplates as well as study. The text tells us that he sought worldly knowledge because knowledge shapes desires, and desires, when aligned with the Most High, shapes destiny. He took his time to learn the world, to observe the local merchants and customs, to grow in commerce, to level up his mentality. Why? Because when genius becomes active, you must develop the container to hold the blessing. A gifted mind without discipline becomes dangerous. A blessed mind without direction becomes wasteful. A powerful mind without purpose becomes self-sabotaging. Aladdin knew unlimited genius requires unlimited wisdom. I love this version of the Aladdin story because there was no limit to the jinn. So there could be no limit to his learning. And in going after the highest treasure, Princess, please excuse my pronunciation, Badrud Badar, and once Aladdin leveled up, he set his sights on the highest earthly treasure a man in this world could pursue, the closest and prettiest things in the heaven, a princess. Again, her name is Princess Badrud Badar, but this is not about romance. This is not even about marriage. The princess represents your highest ideal, your highest goal, your highest resonance partner, your highest destiny. Her name reveals everything. Badar, which means the full moon at its brightest, and Al-Budar means the full moons in plurality of the radiance multiplied, essentially the brightest moon of all the brightest moons ever seen. The princess represents a divine feminine fully illuminated, the fullness of purpose, the clearest reflection of destiny. And Aladdin, educated, newly aware, newly strengthened, believed he was worthy of her. Why? Because the street urchin, after getting to know himself, surely became conscious to the name of, and Aladdin, newly educated, newly aware, newly strengthened, believed he was worthy of her. Why? Because the street urchin, after getting to know himself, surely became conscious to the meaning of his name, Aladdin, meaning nobility of faith. He knew he could rely on the Most High. He knew he could rely on the genius inside of him. He knew that the same God who delivered him from the cave would elevate him to the palace to claim his prize, his desire, his princess. Your genius becomes your servant. Aladdin brings this proposal to the Sultan by proxy of his mother. He pays the dowry. He presents the wealth. He demonstrates the ability. But the deeper message is this. Your genius is your servant, not your master. Your divine gift should not intimidate you. It should obey you. The Sultan represents worldly power, but even worldly power cannot resist the one who walks in divine alignment. When you operate in faith, when your genius is awakened, and when your intention is righteous, your genius will open doors that society closed. When your genius is awakened, even a king, authority in principalities above and below, must settle terms with you. In Aladdin's tradition, the jinn were understood as divine messengers, spirit beings serving Allah, Islam's version of the Most High. J.B. Philby notes in Arabia Before Islam, these jinn closely paralleled the Jewish malakim, functioning as intermediaries between heaven and humanity, i.e. angels. Now, a warning, misuse of the genius leads to collapse. But let me give you a brotherly style advice. If your genius is producing negative outcomes, you must correct your thinking. You must silence your opponents. You must hold on to your jewels. The genie does not create problems. The master's misdirection does. If life feels chaotic, if your manifestations feel unstable, if the results don't look like your prayers, your task is not to fear the cave again. Your task is to reclaim control, realign your thoughts, and remember, every hero in scripture drew from the Most High. Every protagonist became great through alignment, and every miracle begins with faith the size of a mustard seed. You must become noble in your faith. Mastery is nobility of faith in the one God of strength, the only one I know, the Most High. Aladdin mastered the genie because he mastered himself. He learned to perform the funeral for thoughts that do not serve him. That is mastery. Not the lamp, not the ring, not the genie. The mastery is of the mind. And when the mind aligns with the Most High, when faith becomes noble, when desire is purified and intention is uplifted, your genie or your genius provided by the Most High must appear. Your genius then must serve because your destiny must manifest. This is the promise. Everything asked in harmony with the Most High is possible. And like abracadabra, your life must rise. So we close this journey from limited awareness through conflict and awakening to mastery and nobility. So I declare over you, may your genius appear, may your genie awaken, may your destiny illuminate like the full moon, blight, plural, and multiply.
Oh, thank you for that. I got a lot of really good nuggets from that one, Kaz. Very, very thought-provoking. I almost feel as if, because of some of the analogies that were drawn, it's almost I don't know how to call those things. I think they're like those Russian eggs that have an egg inside, and then it just gets more miniature, because the way that I kind of saw it was like, I see this kind of place where you're out in the world, then you go down into the cave, and then even within the cave, there was levels on the cave. And then even within the cave and the levels, then you have a genie it's like you're going to the deepest part.
Right.
And I really love that, because, not to take you away, I'm pretty sure that spurred a thought for you, but like when you're in Inception, like I remember the first time I saw that movie, and then they went into like a dream within a dream.
Yeah.
And they went into a dream in a dream.
Yep,
and then
yep,
they went
yep.
and everybody was like, whoa,
Where are
how
we?
deep can you go? And from what I understand, and I like this because Neville Goddard talks a lot about the subconscious mind, is like when you're going on that level of depth, until that when you go down, you're alone in a cave for 3 days, kind of forced inward.
Yes.
And you're going in, deeper. Like you're going to have like a crazy moment of self-awareness.
You're going to have a crazy a moment of self-awareness. And I believe, like, okay, in the real world, there have always been those instances where people are in an emergency state or situation, and they do something superhuman, supernatural.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That under normal circumstances, or if you look at this individual, they would not be able to lift this car or survive this fall, or...
You know what that literally made me think of, but not as dramatic as what you're saying, is they say creativity is the birth of necessity.
Yes.
I'm going to say that wrong.
Necessity is the...
Do you know what I mean? Like
Correct.
that demand is going to evoke you to behave in a certain way.
Correct.
Because of that situation is so compelling.
Correct. And okay, so what happens then is like you get to a point in self-awareness, and it's really, I think, beautifully illustrated in the Aladdin story, when obviously you cannot do nothing. First of all, you got into this cave through magical enchantments.
And you're not even like in a position of power to begin with.
No.
It's not like, I mean, in the Disney version, they say street rat, but he basically is like destitute, poor with his mother.
Correct.
Like widowed.
Correct.
Child with no father.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? And then to get to the point of like even more dramatic despair.
Correct. So like you already started off, Aladdin's story starts off in a situation on the low end of the side, right? Then his antagonist is a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Obviously
he's already unmatched. I mean, he's already outmatched.
In terms of knowledge base, right? Before he can even consider the princess, even in this story, he has to defeat this opponent.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean.
And he doesn't.
Yeah.
Himself.
And he does it. And I mean, and it's not like that's what he was looking for.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? It was like, it's almost like a perfect rags to riches from a mindset standpoint.
Correct. Now, you see, you said he was not looking for him. But that's why I said in the text, but your opponent is looking for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because they know something about you that you don't know of yourself.
But you said it. You said it. It basically is the opponent is the awakener. Your rise is calling the opponent. It's like the bad guy needs a hero to fight. He's looking for a worthy opponent. He's looking for... You don't want to fight with somebody that, I mean, maybe you do just want to do one punch, but some people want a competition.
Because in a sense, what this story illustrates to me also is that your greatest opponent is your ignorance.
Yeah. I mean, I would have never thought of the Aladdin story from a perspective of self-awareness, but I feel like that truly is what it is. It's almost like going from the lowest totem pole of confidence to what I really like is that in the Disney version, Aladdin to a perspective is like deceiving the Sultan and Jasmine into thinking that he is more than he says. He's a prince, he's a blah, 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 because he wants to get her hand. But in this one, he actually goes on to seek knowledge, and he's not using the genie at every turn, really.
I mean, and that's what I do appreciate about the story is that
knowledge
after he got out the cave, right, from the bad Uncle Sorcerer, once he gets home, he's still under earthly conditions. He's still poor.
Yeah.
You know, his mom is still...
And he's still trying to figure out ways to hustle.
Right?
Yeah.
So after the genie brings him the 12 plates, he sells it. He doesn't even know the value of the plates that he got, right?
Yeah.
So after he learned...
So really, even in that moment, that's showing his limitation in knowledge.
Yes,
He doesn't even know how to sell a thing.
Even with the genie.
Even with a genie in his hand.
In his hand.
Yeah. See, even with... That's so powerful to me because, like, if that genius is lying so deep, deep down within you that you don't even see that. I mean, okay, I'm just going to go out on a makes it dramatic. Let's say, for example, because what perplexes me is why did, I'm going to call him Jafar, but he's not Jafar, right? Why did the evil sorcerer uncle know that of all the human beings in the world, this is the guy he had to find? I would say that that genius that's inside of him was shining so bright that the sorcerer could find it.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because even when he came home, to have the lamp in your pocket, do you know what I mean? And not even using it to think, oh, I'm going to rub this thing. Like you're still an urchin. And I love that word so much because I had to look it up because I was like, what, sea urchin? I don't get it. It's a mischievous young child, especially one who is poorly or raggedly dressed.
Yes.
So he's still in this urchin mind frame with a genie in his pocket.
But somebody sees it.
It's shining off of him. But maybe the sorcerer has a different kind of magical glasses to find that. Because everybody else is treating him like the poor guy that he is.
Because,
too.
okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Nobody else is saying, you're a genius.
The other thing about the the pseudo uncle sorcerer is that obviously he's utilizing enchantments, pouring incense, using magical words, opening caves, right? He knows something about the physical world that Aladdin is in that even Aladdin doesn't even know. Okay.
He's already one up on him that there is a cave of wonders.
Okay. Yet
you understand?
still,
like he didn't even know there was a cave, so he already knows more than him just knowing that that even exists.
But yet still, the only person who can give the sorcerer what he really wanted was the genie inside of Aladdin.
But the genie is for, I don't know, I can make too many. The genie, the cave is also giving test, the cave itself. So even in order to enter the cave, to even be able to go through the test, you have to have a certain level of worthiness. Because if the sorcerer or the uncle in this point had that ability to even enter the cave, he would have. So there had to be some sort of, this is hitting me. There had to be some sort of pride, I think, or humbleness that Aladdin was accustomed to because he was already so low. Like, I have nothing to lose.
Correct.
Versus the sorcerer who didn't have that mentality and therefore he could not even enter the cave, if that makes any sense.
Right.
He was too full of himself to a certain degree. I can't find a better analogy. And the cave would not even allow him in.
Correct. So you see now, there's, like you said, the humility to know yourself at a quote unquote low station.
Yeah.
Is what really conjured the genie to come to operation.
Yeah.
Right.
Because without going within the cave to have this time of self-discovery,
not even Aladdin would get the lamp, right? So there's a part in the text where it says when Aladdin comes home, instead of having his mother sell the cotton that she used to get money, she's like, well, let me just clean this lamp with salt water, and the mother rubs the lamp, and the genie comes out.
Yeah.
Right. But anything can be viewed the way that you want, but the way that I view it is already the conflict that Aladdin went through was already rubbing his mind.
I honestly think that you have to get trapped in the cave.
You do.
It's like you have to go through the deception of what the sorcerer did and said, hey, give me that lamp first before I let you out. And then you say, this is a little fishy. You're not going to let me out. Because if he didn't spend time in the cave, he would not have experienced any of the magic that came with finding the genie and having the lamp. If he would have went in and walked right out.
And like in the story, like that's like the most amazing thing that happens. Him escaping the cave, right? Later on, he gets the food. Later on, after learning, he's like, okay, I want a princess. And of course, you're reading the story like, okay, this genie just took this guy out of the cave, gave him food, gave him silver to sell.
And basically an unescapable situation. Not only is it a cave with 3 levels, but it is a magical cave. Okay. So how is he supposed to get out?
In the story, Aladdin takes the jewels.
Well, that I thought was interesting also, because because the jewels to a certain degree, right, represent your qualities, right, that are deep within you, right? But the interesting thing is you even had to go, like he had to even not even look at all those things. Yes, he could have access to them, but he really had to go for the genie.
He really,
like that, even though he didn't say get as many gems as you can. He's like, get that genie, because with that it's unlimited. If you just focus on just these jewels and
You're
just
gonna-
getting as,
you're going to lose a prize.
you're not going to get the true prizes, which is to go as deep as you can within yourself.
So, okay, fast forward
To
that
release your unlimited
to
potential.
now, after he spends time with the genie, with the knowledge of the genie, I would say, now he's learning about the world around him. Now he's understanding what the value of the 12 pieces of silver is actually.
Yeah.
Now he's understanding what commerce is, what the customs are, right?
Listen, to the point, which I think is so amazing, he raises his self-esteem to the point that he feels like he can ask the princess to be
Sultan's
his wife.
daughter. Now, Sultan in this time is almost like the president
That's
or
what I'm saying.
the prime minister's daughter or
Like
the
he
king's
made,
daughter.
this is truly a journey of being an urchin to all of a sudden, to being to the point that you feel that confident that you're like, you know what, girl, I want?
Yeah. In the story, when he tells his mom that, his mom is borderline laughing at him.
But can you imagine though? She raised him. She knows what situation that they're in, and she's like, yeah. Can you go to the White House?
Yeah.
And like what? The tremendous amount of faith that she would have to cross over.
And the mother in the story totally doubted him. Okay, they had this long dialogue, which is very interesting because I think it was only like 2 hours in the audiobook when I listened to it. But that was like, you would think it would spend 30 minutes in the Cave of Wonders.
Right,
but
right.
the 30 minutes was like the dialogue that he had with his mother. And he was like, listen, I know you're going to say that I'm this, that I'm that. But
Yeah.
I still want you to go to
because
the Sultan.
I have now accessed the genius.
I have a genius. I have a genie
Like
genius.
I have it. Like there's nothing, like when the Sultan gave him the bushels, he was like, there's literally nothing I cannot do.
Do you
There's
understand?
nothing I cannot do.
And
There's no dowry. There's no bride price that is too high for me.
And the genie was like, he does not talk. He's not like the Disney Aladdin character making jokes and
Yeah.
telling Aladdin. He's like, what you want? You want this? Okay, boom, you got it.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to get you.
Boom, you got it.
Wow. You're unlimited. Your unlimited potential.
Unlimited.
I love that so much. I kind of said all my things.
That's good.
I thought that was riveting because that could be scary. Do you understand? Somebody to encourage you to go to the deepest recesses of your mind to tap into something.
See now.
That can be very, very,
that's very interesting.
very,
you say
very
that
scary.
because I'm going to do a real world segue, right? We've seen these military training operations, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, etc. They push them to the limit.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever they activate afterwards makes them allowed to be Navy SEAL, Delta Force, etc.
Because you have literally stripped everything away from a person. Like, if you thought you were strong, you ain't strong. If you thought you were tough, you ain't tough. Like, you strip them down to the bare nothingness of vulnerability. At that point, you could say anything.
Now, it's very interesting also, too, that in the whole book, the moment that Aladdin calls on God, okay, God came instantly. And
Right.
he called, in my opinion, the right God, the great God of strength, right? And when he calls, and of course, in this time when Aladdin's story is told, genies doesn't necessarily have the negative connotation that it does have now. They're akin to angels. And the angel, this is an Arabic tradition.
Listen, and
The angel appeared.
If the angel is giving you the message, the angel is basically saying you can have whatever you want.
Yeah. So you want to escape this cave?
Oh, you want to get out?
No problem.
You can get out. Snap. Not even you have to do something to work for it.
You see, and the
It's
genie
just
wasn't
because you
even
asked for it.
the genie wasn't even fresh mouth and said you should go read something now and figure out
Yeah,
what to really
I think
ask
that
him.
you shouldn't rely on me.
No, the genie just waited for the call.
So the jinn really, or the genie, is really a messenger
Messenger from the Most High,
from the Most High. Because, interesting.
right? Because again, now I'm gonna go to the Bible text when another angel came
I
to
was saying
Sarah,
the same thing.
okay, and told her was going to get pregnant in her old age, and she laughed. And the angel looked back and said, "Is there nothing to her? No, don't you see me here?"
I know,
Right?
right?
So now this is in a different context, different story, but there's still only one Most High God. There's still only one Most High
Right.
God, right? No matter how you want to come to the Most High.
Because, are you to believe that all these things are happening to Aladdin some stroke of luck? Do you know what I mean? There's a path. There's, like I said, it's not like he came to the thing and then he expected that the uncle was going to be fair with him. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? He was going to get stuck. He was going to have to ask for this grandiose gesture from
Exactly.
the Most High to get out of the situation
Exactly.
and let all the other things of life unfold. If he didn't have that, he would give the lamp back to the uncle and go back up to his regular life.
Yeah. And just
What would he? I'm so glad I never got stuck in that cave. No.
you see and think, okay, in my opinion, because the Most High is worthy to be praised. Why? Because just as in the Lord's Prayer, she's going to give you, he or she, whatever it is going to give you more than what you asked for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you just got enough. It was like, damn, you could have let me out the cave with the whole leg. You know what I'm saying? I'm amputated. No. He came out, his whole person, and he was able to go his way. Able to then call the genie again for sustenance. As is able to increase his desires, the genie was there for them. Do you know what I mean? That's the Most High giving you more than what you asked for. Way more than what you asked for. He saw the princess. The genie, Most High was like, sure, why not?
Why not? Your mom is doubting it, but sure.
See, in other traditions,
Like literally granted.
Granted.
Oh, somebody's trying to trick you and get you out of to your betrothed. Granted. Take care of it. It's like nothing.
That's nothing.
Like, I don't know, like if the story could do this, but say Aladdin was freaking out. You know what I mean? He didn't think this was going to work out. Or was he like super confident, like, okay, whatever I need, I'm going to get it because I got a genie now.
That's the story of the allegory, right? So even if it was a Bible text, that would be amazing if I was in, Sunday school listening to this at 9 years old, like, yeah, genie, yeah, great, that's great. Why? Because as you go through the story, right, if you're going to take it anthropomorphically, you're going to say, man, he probably was stressed. He probably was freaking out.
Like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
In the cave for 3 days.
It's not like on day one, he probably thought, I'm never getting out of here.
Do you know what I mean?
But what was he doing? This is my same thing about Joseph. What was he doing while he was in the cave? What was he doing while he was in a pit? So while he was in the cave, he was looking. He was trying to figure it out. It's not like he was just sitting there, Obviously, he prayed.
And that's the thing, right? When you're in these situations of conflict, right? Especially when the opponent is like,
Bigger than you.
all cosmic power, worldly, etc. You have to call and rely on somebody that is supposed to be much more stronger than it. So the one that is always portrayed is in the Bible, okay? The great God Jehovah, okay, creator of the heavens and earth, the one who put the sun that we see, surely the same sun that Yeshua saw when he was on the earth is the same sun. Somebody placed that there.
And if these stories and parables are not about, I hate to be so cliche, how he can do it for you. Yes. What the heck are they about? If it's his story, this is Aladdin's story, okay? This is nobody else's story. It just belongs to Aladdin. We could talk about it from a historical perspective. What is the point? Do you know what I mean? So if that doesn't translate to some sort of like, man, we could do it for Aladdin. Do you know what I mean? Why not you?
Right, because...
Why not you? Are you so much more beloved? You are not a urchin.
Now, I will tell you this. The story may be allegorical, but the Most High is not allegorical.
Right.
It's a real thing, right? Now, it could be such a far time away, especially in the times of where Yeshua was alive, that people were raising up from the dead. That's recorded. It doesn't happen now, but that's what the power that Yeshua was working with. That's why I started off with the text from Hosea, basically like the faith that these other people have utilized in the past.
Your heroes.
Your heroes, right? You should become familiar with their faith because that is
what you're going to be utilizing in your own story.
In your own story.
Yeah.
In
That's what you're supposed to be utilizing in your own story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, again, not to say every story has a happy ending, but traditionally, if you're watching a movie, you want the protagonist to be victorious. So if you are the protagonist, it doesn't matter. You might be watching the movie at the point, like you just got stuck in the cave and got deceived. Do you know what I mean? But like the point is that there is some other part coming after that.
Correct.
That it does not become, okay, cut. Okay, well, what was the point of me watching that?
And the thing also too, what I like about the story of Aladdin, and really like in any other story, even in the Bible, where the problem is presented, the answer is right there.
Yes.
Oh, you're in a cave? You need to escape.
Yes.
Okay, let's escape.
Oh man, that made me think of something.
You hungry?
Like
let's get some food.
Yeah.
Okay. You need some money? Let's sell these plates.
Yeah.
Everything is right there.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're looking at this young princess and you need a dowry? But
that just goes to show that the Most High in that instance is already pre-providing. It's not that it's right there like it appeared. It was already there. It was already there. You just didn't see it because you were looking at, look at that. That's a point. I'm sorry. I wanted to make. It's like, what are you looking at when you're in the cave? Are you looking at the genie or you're looking at your situation, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in a cave. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking at the genie, you're not going to be as distressed about it.
No.
But if you're looking at, oh my gosh, I'm underground, 3 levels down, do you know what I mean?
See,
those distracting thoughts.
That's why Yeshua says, take no thought.
Right.
Right? Do not bring in, you're already in the cave. There's no need to bring in the fear. It's already there for you, right?
Yeah.
The whole purpose of that as an antagonist to you is to push you to say, oh, Most High, get me out of this cave.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah, because if you thought you could climb it, you would not be praying.
No.
If you thought, oh, I just got to climb a couple of things
Say that again.
Okay. If you thought you could climb it on your own,
you would not be praying.
You would not pray because you got it. It's like, like, oh my gosh, I have to take 2 steps today. Do you know what I mean? You're not praying on that because it's not a thing for you.
Yeah, that's why I said in Hebrews 13:7. Remember your leaders, consider the outcome of their way of life, imitate their faith.
But consider the outcome, which is what was a victory.
Of course.
The outcome was a victory. So that's why we're talking about them.
I mean,
but
people...
Listen, that is why we're talking about them.
That's why
we would not be talking about them unless we were giving some sort of cautionary tale.
Yes.
We're not giving a cautionary tale.
People name their son after Jesus.
And after the people who win.
Yes, because Jesus won. People name their son after David because David won.
There's something about their story, not perfect, but something that at the end they got it.
They got it.
They got it. They got the lesson. They got the victory. They got the win. Whatever it was, somehow they got it. And because they got it, we deserve to talk about them. And like the Bible verse says, also imitate their faith. Because in imitating their faith, we can get the same result and outcome that they got.
Yep.
Very riveting. I feel like I could definitely come up with even more things to say about this topic because there's so many breakdown pieces that could be valuable there. So thank you for that.
Not a problem.
All righty. So just go. Thank you for joining us in this powerful exploration of faith's creative power. If this message stirred your spirit, please subscribe, share with your community, and leave a comment below to share how you are awakening the thing. Stay connected as we continue to walk this path of spiritual empowerment together. Until next time, walk in faith and light within your own life. Stay connected as we continue to walk. I don't know what this is saying. What do you want to do?
Family.
Islam.
Family. However you come to your in your secret closet with the Most High, please believe your prayers will be answered. I have total faith in that. And, like Yeshua said, go into your secret place, commune with the Most High secretly and let the demonstrations be in public. All right.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
You just felt like doing that?
I did.
And you wanted me to wing it with you?
I guess so. Okay. Islam.
Ashe.
And amen.
Amen. Listen. From my perspective of